Hello, Hamilton. It's that time again. Get up, get off the couch, and start tackling your own to-do lists. I'm Bob Assadourian. Welcome to the Just Ask Bob show, where every show begins with an email. Today we have an email, Chris from Ancaster, Ontario. Hello, Bob. Love your show. As a homeowner, am I allowed to do my own wiring work? I purchased a code book and absolutely know I can follow it perfectly. Oh, Bob, and also, what do you think of whole house surge protectors? And is it easy to replace a single outlet in my living room? Well, Chris, thank you so much. Let's start first of all with the code book. I mean, I realize you've bought the code book, you can memorize it, but believe me, it takes a lot more than that to become a licensed electrician in the province of Ontario. We'll get into that a little further during the show. Let's start with the whole house surge protector. We have one here. Excellent unit, and I must say it's very well endorsed as well. Really nice unit. On today's show, we're going to be installing it. We have a guest electrician, licensed electrician. We'll be introducing him here after the break. He'll be installing that in the home's electrical panel. Now, as far as your second question, is it easy to replace an outlet? Very easy, piece of cake. I mean, the stupidest thing you can do is not to turn the power off. So again, we're okay here. We've got this one set up already. We've got the power off. Now, I mean, it's simple. You have to understand the way power travels through your black, your white, and your red. So again, let's get it turned around the proper way. Oh, wow. I guess the power wasn't off. Okay, well, we've lost power here in the studio. Give us a moment. We're going to take a break, get power restored, and we'll be right back after this message. Hello, Hamilton. Welcome back to the Just Ask Bob show. Before the break, we had a little bit of a mishap. Sparks were flying. I burnt out the outlet, shut off, lost power to the studio. Everything's been restored thanks to my special guest. Welcome, John TenBrinke from JMT Electrical Solutions.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
Thank God you're here. Hamilton, licensed electrician. He's my subcontractor that does all my company's electrical work. He's here today not only to answer the emailer's question, but also obviously to get us back to working conditions here. John, what did I do wrong? It is easy to change an outlet, isn't it?
It normally is, but you did make sure the power was off, and you always should check the power is off. Use a certified tester.
See, I didn't go to electrical school.
Well, you know what you do? Get yourself a good tester.
And then take it from there.
Always check before
How's she look? How toasted is it?
What you did is these are both available at 220 volts across these screws for a split receptacle, and you hit both. That's pretty dangerous.
Could I have died?
Absolutely.
Please, don't do what I did at home. I mean, we always talk about this. There's many projects you can do safely. Let's compare plumbing to electrical. If you get your plumbing wrong, you're going to wet your socks. If you get your electrical wrong, you're going to die. Okay, can we restore that?
So
let's pop it in. I mean, Chris sent the email from Ancaster about how easy or not it is to replace an outlet. Let's do it for Chris.
All right, so what we have here is a new episode. There's a new tamper-proof receptacle. These are child-proof. You no longer need those junk plastic plugs.
Kids don't pop things in there.
What happens here is you cannot put something in one. They have to be even pressure on both for the outlet to go in.
And a kid won't be coordinated enough typically to pop two toys in at the same time.
I can't even do it. Okay, so what we did, this is a split receptacle, very commonly found in kitchens. So what you do here is there's a copper tab that you can see on this side.
Okay.
This is called the neutral side, the silver side, your ground screw.
Okay.
And this is side for the hot wires. Now, with the split receptacle, you have two of them. And if we didn't break that tab, as soon as you restored power, it would trip the breaker. So we broke this tab off.
Okay.
The other one stays the same.
Okay.
What you want to do here is I got 3 wires. Got my screwdriver here. We always screw down extra screws that are not needed.
Take the space out.
Well, the problem is it just shifts around at all. That screw can hit the box, and that's where you have your short.
Nothing sticking out. Okay.
So we're going to go over here.
John, how many years? Give our viewers some information. How did you learn all this?
Well, I started out in actually high school. It's called the Ontario Youth Apprentice Program.
Nice.
And all the hours that you get inside the Ontario Youth Apprentice Program goes towards your apprenticeship.
Okay.
Apprenticeship is 9,000 hours, which is roughly about 5 years.
Nice.
You go to school 3 times at, the Ontario College Board. So I went to Mohawk College in Hamilton.
Nice.
So you take 3 courses. At the end of your completion of your hours in that, you write your CFQ exam or Certificate of a Qualification exam. And then if you pass that, you're now a licensed electrician. Now, that doesn't mean you can own a business being a licensed electrician. You also need to work for a few years and get your master.
Apprenticeship. The hours.
Well, no, once you get your license,
okay,
to become a master electrician, which you need to be to open a business, It's another 3 years of experience as a licensed electrician.
Okay.
And then you have another course and exam to take, and it was a pretty tough one compared to the other ones.
Wow. So are these wires still in good condition?
Yeah, the wires are fine. As long as the power's restored, you can feel them. You want to make sure they're not loose. They should be good and stiff. They're bent in the right position.
And you're sure the power's off this time?
Well, I found out I used my testers.
Okay, that'll do it. That'll
so what
do
we're
it.
going to do is the bare copper wire is called your ground.
Okay.
It's actually called the bonding wire, but it's most preferably as ground. It goes around the green screw. What you want to do is put it around the screw so when you tighten it down, it tightens against it.
Clockwise.
Clockwise.
Okay. I knew that.
So it's on opposite sides. This is called your neutral conductor.
Okay.
That goes on the silver screw. Make sure it's good in there. We tighten it down. So now the other side is going to be different how the wire's laid out. You still want the exact thing, but it'll be the reverse. So we want to make sure once you put these two wires, you want them nowhere near each other. They need to have good separation. You don't want much insulation other than what's going around the screw.
Okay. How common is this? We're talking earlier during the break that with Hamilton homeowners, this is very common. Changing an outlet and, you know, power on or off or somehow sparking it?
Most people that aren't a licensed electrician, a homeowner, or even a handyman who's trying to replace outlets don't understand how this works. And all of a sudden I'll get a call saying, my kitchen outlet's not working.
Okay.
And it's not very hard for me to figure out.
So it is common. Okay, it is common.
So they always forget to break that tab.
The tab.
And unless you're taught it, it's kind of something, unless you look at the old
Well,
outlet.
everything is education, everything's learning.
Right.
Everybody
So
specializes in something.
You make your mistake the first one. So now we've completed all the wiring. Now this can go back in the box and we'll put the cover plate on. What I'm going to do before I put the cover plate on is...
electrical tape.
Well, actually, no, not so much electrical tape. I like to test it first, and I'll turn it back off, put it back in. That way we make sure we have good connections.
Now, Chris had some more questions here, and this one's a very gray area because it relates to opinions. He's purchased an electrical code book. He studied it. He's mastered it. He believes he can follow it perfectly, so he wants to become the weekend warrior rewiring his whole home. Let's talk law first.
Well, law says...
It's allowed.
Law says in your own home...
You can do it as long as you pull a permit.
You can do it, but you have to pull a permit. All electrical work has to be done through the Electrical Safety Authority through a permit.
They're going to come in and inspect.
That's right. So once you've completed the work, you're going to call them, you pay the fee, and then they will come when you book a date, they'll come to your house and inspect the wiring.
Now my understanding is like the jobs you do for me.
Yeah.
ESA will come in, they'll look at your work, it's always passed, it's in and out, they're gone. My understanding is when it's a homeowner, they're going to be much, much more critical because they assume that this homeowner, they work at a bank or they're a doctor, lawyer, whatever they are, they're not an electrician, so they're going to really look through everything. And what happens each time they find something wrong?
Well,
do they tell you, let you fix it on the spot?
Inspectors are smart guys. They know that if you're an average homeowner, you don't know what you're doing, even though you think you do. And you know what? These guys are there to make sure you're safe. Okay. They're not there to be against you. If they give you a defect, it's not because they hate you.
So let's say the homeowner's trying to save a few dollars. They paid $80 for the permit. ESA comes in. They find 4 things wrong.
That's right.
Are they going to be kind to you and teach you and take the time to have you correct? No. They won't tell you the 4 wrong ones.
They won't tell you the 4. They're going to send you a piece of paper because they don't have time for that. They're very busy.
So then when they come back, they'll give you time to correct it. When they come back, what do you pay again?
You pay the whole permit fee again.
80 again. And now this time they find 4 wrong only. Yeah. They come back 80, 80, 80.
Oh, yeah, it gets
so it can end up costing you more than if they bring in a licensed electrician.
Yeah, so if you bring in a licensed a licensed electrical contractor. A licensed electrician, though he may be able to go out and do work for a company,
but not on his own.
He cannot go on his own.
We've talked about that on many shows before, about the politics of it, whereas a master licensed electrician that's not a contractor, he won't have the Workplace Safety Insurance Board coverage, the liability coverage,
that's right.
So he can only work for his employer.
That's right.
Let's take a moment to address very, very common in Hamilton. How many people at home recognize this? Come on, you must. In my 10 years of being in this business, many people's basements that I've been in, they've got knob and tube wiring, and they've got clothes hanging on it. They use it as a clothes hanger in the basement. Very common. Would it be fair to say some of the original and oldest wiring in our lovely city?
It's the original wiring in our lovely city.
Wow, wow. Issues with it?
Lots of issues with it.
Hanging clothes on it wouldn't be a good idea?
Not a great idea. The biggest issue with it is age now. It was a technology great for its time, but the problem is they didn't have computers, they didn't have blow dryers. They had a simple light. They had a simple clock.
5 TVs in the home.
5 TVs in the home, no. And the problem with knob and tube is it's not like it is today where everything has their own circuits.
Okay.
A house built in the 30s would have 4 circuits total.
Okay.
So the problem is now we're overloading, and the problem is this stuff is not designed to handle heat very well. As you can see, this is actually not bad piece of knob and tube, but most you go into, you touch it like this, it'll crack in half.
I see.
So now you have open conductors. Now what these are for, these are running through for a 4 joist. It'll go like this through your joist like this, and that way it's not touching wood. What the problem is, nowadays when we do work, all connections must be in a junction box that's accessible to the contractor.
Accessible.
Accessible. This
That's
stuff,
the key.
This stuff, what they used to do to make a connection was strip the insulation, solder it, and tape it inside the walls.
Okay.
And now, how do I fix it?
Let's take a moment to talk about unlicensed electricians, people that believe they're electricians, or general contractors such as myself that don't know enough to bring in you, that go ahead and do it themselves. You must have seen as much as I've seen or
hundreds
more.
and hundreds
What can
of
we
things.
tell the Hamilton homeowners today?
It's very important to hire a licensed electrical contractor. The ESA is a very well-run organization. They have task force that go after people that do work that are not licensed. The fines can range from $1,000 to $50,000.
Wow.
Now, most people don't know this, but a homeowner can also be fined $1,000 to $50,000 for hiring an unlicensed contractor.
Well, the other thing I like to tell homeowners, whether it's your auto insurance, your homeowner's insurance, you have to understand the inner workings of insurance companies. When there's a claim, I'm very certain that the very first thing they try to do is find a way to get out of the claim. So if your home's had a remodel and it's burnt to the ground or there's major fire damage, they'll dig into it. Was there a permit? Was it a licensed electrical contractor? If it wasn't, the insurance now has a way to tell you, the homeowner, you violated your insurance policy agreement with us, the insurer. So we're not going to rebuild your home that burnt to the ground.
That's right.
Is it worth it?
No.
Absolutely not. Before we get to installing well, we're going to take a break and we're going to be installing a complete home surge protector. We're doing that on location. I want to tell us, well, we'll talk about this on location. Let's take a moment. I built a prop here, and I really want you to help me with this because this is probably the most common thing I've ever seen in my 10 years of business. This could be your kitchen, basement, bathroom, anywhere. It could be your wall or your ceiling. Hidden junction boxes. Okay, what's wrong with this? Let me take a moment for safety reasons. Obviously, this is my prop. So, John, tell us, what's going on here?
What they did is they buried a junction box. And as I was just telling you, that all things have to be accessible.
Not a good idea. We've cut open ceilings on jobs that have had 15 of these buried. Not a good idea at all. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to be on location installing a whole home surge protector right after the break. Hello, Hamilton. Welcome back to the Just Ask Bob show. John, what can I say? Thanks again. John's my savior today. We started off the show. I was trying to be educated. I was trying to be smart and coy that it was really easy to change an outlet. Obviously, we had sparks fly. I knocked out the power to the complete studio shop. John showed up, made it right, took care of it. Now we've got some work down here at the panel. Let's take a moment for my Bob's Bewares and my Bob's Top Picks. And literally, they relate to electrical, so you can assist me with this. Now, this has always been code, has it not?
It's been like that for 40 years ago, up until 6 months ago.
6 months ago. So up until 6 months ago, this piece of junk, piece of crap, new home construction, remodel, they're at all the big box stores. Hamilton homeowners, I'm sure you recognize this. This is outside your home, you want to plug something in. You pull it up, it won't even stay. You pull it up, you plug in, you let it down. That's how you're plugged in through a rainstorm or a snowstorm. Doesn't look very water resistant to me.
Not at all.
Now, for the last 10 years, at least, and I've been in business, I insist on all my jobs that we don't use this, we use this here. So this just became code 6 months ago.
All code and all new installations.
I'll show it off and you tell the people why it's different. Let me get my finger in there.
All right, so this is called an in-use cover. It's got this nice bubbled space right here. So what happens is you open it up, you'll put your outlet in, and now we have space for this outlet to be in there comfortably and close it, and there's no pressure on the plug, because what happens is if you get pressure on the plug, it'll start pulling away, and that starts calling arcing, and arcing causes
snap it all the way, close it. my fingers, the power, this is the wiring. So this is whatever you're plugging in, and then it's closed. It's nice. This is completely weatherproof.
Absolutely.
Bob's top pick for a decade, nearly 9.5 years before it was code. Why is electrical code so behind? I mean, again, I'm not an electrician. Why this piece of junk always code? Is it because it's cheap?
No, it's cheap.
Is it a minimum standard?
It's
like
a minimum
with my
standard, but the problem is manufacturers make half the code book.
Politics?
It's politics. The Ontario Electrical Code Book, which is in line with the Canadian Electrical Code Book.
Okay.
They have, it's a volunteer committee, right? There's hundreds and hundreds of people, and now when a manufacturer comes up with a product like this, they're going to want to push it. So now, the problem is it takes 3 years for a new code book to come in place. So if something comes into code now, 3 years before it'll fully enforce.
But I want to see in my world if we can draw a comparison. Let me tell you my world, what I tell homeowners all the time. In my world, I deal with the Ontario Minimum Building Code.
That's right.
Which is technically designed to keep new homes affordable. Have you ever priced a new home lately? They're not affordable. I believe the Ontario Minimum Building Code is designed to make builders rich. So every little thing, clothes dryer vents, the outlets outside, the white louvered cover, they're $2.99. You buy a new home in 3 months or before you move in, the louver's flown off.
That's right.
That's minimum code, that unit. The better one's $10. So back to electrical, is it fair to say that money has something? How much is this?
Nowadays, these are about $5, $6.
And how much is this?
About $8.
Is that the reason? Does the money have something to do with it? Usually does.
Money has something to do with just because manufacturers push it. Right now, if they have a giant stock of those, they're going to want to get rid of them.
Because to me, though, the Electrical Safety Authority, obviously that's open. You're plugged in here.
That's right.
Weather gets in it. How is it a weatherproof?
Well, to tell you the truth, the idea is that a GFI protects, but in older homes, the GFIs aren't there.
Exactly.
But, I mean, the electrical code book in Canada is actually one of the harder ones in the world.
Well, I know we're way better than the U.S.
They're way better than the U.S. I've been to Mexico, and you wouldn't believe what I've seen there.
Well, I can imagine.
But so, the electrical code book is for safety purposes. Now, the only reason they change it because they must have had issues. If they have issues, they make changes.
Okay. Tell us now what we've started. Let's explain clearly to Hamilton homeowners what the whole house surge protector will do.
I got you. Okay, Bobby showed you that picture of the box we showed you earlier about the surge protector.
Yes.
So I've gone ahead and pre-installed it in the panel into a 1/2-inch knockout.
Okay.
Okay, so we got 4 leads that come off of it.
Okay.
We got black, red, green, white, and that's basically the same things we saw upstairs.
Okay.
What happens here is this surge protector, we want to wire, I'm going to show you in a minute how to install it, we want to wire it as close to the main breaker as possible.
Okay.
The reason for that is the power is coming from your main breaker. If the surge comes in, you want it to hit the surge protector before anything.
Before it goes to the circuits.
Before the rest of the circuits. I heard an instance a few years ago where a lightning hit a power utility and it actually destroyed every single piece of electrical equipment in the house, including the wiring. It was a $20,000 repair.
Well, I don't know much about computers, but about a year ago, the hard drive burnt out on my computer, and we did have off and on at the home. Power would go off every now and then. So with that issue, the gentleman that repaired my computer,
that's right,
he asked me if I had one of those power bars with the surge protection.
That's right. So
he more or less implied that the whole house surge protector, even the power bar, which I didn't have, may have saved the hard drive on my computer.
So what it does is it's got little diodes inside, and when its surge comes in, it destroys itself to protect the rest of the system.
Sacrificial.
Sacrificial. So what happens, I've actually been out to a service call, and then once that happens, the electrical will go a little funky with the voltage, right? And then it turns off and you replace the unit.
Okay.
So what it does is this actually comes with a large warranty. I believe it's in the $35,000-$40,000 range. If it does not work,
you fill out a form, you send it in. $35,000-$40,000 worth of coverage for a homeowner.
If it does not work,
now you're not offering that protection money.
I'm not offering
that's the manufacturer. The manufacturer of the breaker.
So for the investment that it is, it's a well worth investment.
Now another thing I've heard, and I'll run this by you. Today's refrigerators and stoves, not like 10 years ago.
That's right.
You had your dials and everything. Now it's an LCD display, bake, oven, roast, temperature and everything. I mean, back in the day I dabbled with some repairs and appliances. What the appliance repair people tell me these days is, once that unit goes, that electronic brain or control unit, they're anywhere from $300 to $400.
That's right.
Are those protected by this?
Absolutely.
But on a normal stove, can you put a surge, you know, those plug-in ones? You can't. No, you can't
do that.
You're not going to put it on your fridge behind the fridge.
No, you're not.
So those power bar protectors, anywhere from maybe $20 to even $100.
That's right. It's for computer areas.
It's for your computer, 1 or 2 isolated areas.
That's right.
This is, as it says, whole home protection.
That's right.
Now, really important for the Hamilton viewers, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Okay, not too much. No, I want Hamilton homeowners to understand roughly what things will cost.
That's right.
So again, we're very careful today. What he's installing and he's explaining is just to explain and install, period. We're not teaching this because we don't endorse homeowners doing this for obvious reasons.
No.
Now, to bring in a licensed electrical contractor such as yourself,
That's right.
I know every home varies, it depends. Ballpark, and I'll make sure no Hamilton homeowner holds you to it, but what's this cost worth to a homeowner if they hire you and have you come in? Because your name, contact information will be up in the television screen. Right. People will be calling you, hopefully.
Depending on the panel itself,
okay,
this project cost about $400 to $500.
Including
so, including the unit and the electrical permit. It is not a huge investment for that much amount of protection.
Wouldn't it vary much higher, depending on?
Not the unit itself. There's a little variation in price.
Okay.
Right. So if you want a more advanced unit, which has some adapters, you can get adapters to actually protect your coax lines for your TV.
Oh, I've read that. Now this unit, where's the unit you've installed?
Right here.
So onto this unit for another, how much dollars is the adapter?
I think they're about $50 a piece.
So
roughly.
This unit is only surge suppression for hydro.
For hydro.
For another $30, you can add an adapter.
There's an attachment that'll go to this that will actually protect your phone and your cable
and your TV.
During a lightning strike,
well, yeah, the phone can go or the cable.
This phone cable, actually, I've actually heard of a story where a phone jack was actually blown off a wall following by a flame.
Oh, wow.
So these things are just as dangerous as your hydro when it comes to an actual surge.
Wow. How many panels have we seen? 'Cause, I mean, looking at this now, every wire that goes in and out has the bushing.
That's right.
I've looked at so many people's homes. I'm there for kitchen, bathroom. For whatever reason, they bring me to the panel. I've seen so many homes where you don't have the staples going across. These are missing. There's not an ESA sticker. Who's been fooling around in there?
Well, these things are very important right around here. There's a couple different types. It doesn't have to be this type, but if you just
it can be a metal one as well.
It could be a metal one, but if you have a metal, if you notice right here, there's two wires in this connector. That's okay in a plastic unit.
Because right now at this moment, I want Hamilton homeowners, make a mental note of this. Go to your basements at some point. Look and see, because I know for a fact many of you are going to see this. I've been to your home and seen it. John, tell them clearly, when this bushing's not here, whether it's plastic or metal,
That's right.
Explain what can go wrong.
What happens is that all this is a sharp metal panel, right? This is just punched metal.
Okay.
It's all sharp edges. If this thing gets laying against the metal, gets jabbed,
abrasion.
What happens is it'll shear through the plastic.
The white plastic covering.
And then, ideally, this shorts the breaker. Because these breakers are there to short on purpose to make sure you don't get electrocuted.
Safety.
Pretend there's a grounding issue, all of a sudden all this metal becomes live. And all of a sudden, and the problem is most of these problems are sitting next to, like if you're touching this wire right here that's copper, or something, the copper drain pipe, if you're touching that and that's a good chance of death.
I see. Let's take a moment now to talk about legalities. Hamilton homeowners, focus in on this. Electrical Safety Authority, JMT Electrical Solutions, my electrical contractor, myself here is Triple R Inc. This is an application. This is the application for the permit. Doesn't matter what you're having done in your home, besides simply changing a fixture or whatnot, it always requires an application for a permit. So once the permit comes in, it's really important. Once the permit comes in, the inspection will be, well, actually, sorry, the inspection is done, then the pass comes in.
That's right.
So take us through the flow. This is first.
So what happens is if you guys called me in for a certain job, I would look at the job for you.
Okay.
Within 48 hours of starting that job, I need to apply for that electrical permit. Now, I do it over the phone. You can do it online.
Okay.
Once I've completed the job, I have called the ESA and tell them I'm ready for inspection.
Okay.
Now, inspections are good for a very amount of time depending on the size of the job, but pretend this job we're doing today,
okay,
I would finish the job and I would go call for inspection. Within the next week, bet an unscheduled day, the ESA inspector would come here and inspect the work to make sure it's up to code. Okay,
I understand. It's very important. Give an example to Hamilton homeowners of electrical work that does not require a permit.
Very
gray area, isn't it?
Well, it's a gray area, but very, very little. Now, if you called me in and you had, like that outlet we did outside,
yes,
I wouldn't need a permit for that because I'm not replacing wiring.
It's existing. You're not running a circuit.
I'm just replacing an actual device.
Okay.
That's one of the very few examples that you don't need a permit.
Now, we've bashed a lot, or we've educated homeowners a lot about, you know, the random warriors, the unlicensed electricians.
That's right.
I want to take a moment, a real serious issue in Hamilton. From what I understand, there are electricians, licensed electrical contractors, many of them, that are doing electrical work without a permit.
That's right.
And what they tell the homeowner is, look, it's me. I'm the licensed electrical contractor. If I do it with a permit, it's this much more. If I do it without, you save a few bucks.
That's right.
And it's still me doing it.
That's right.
I mean, that's their theory, but it's still wrong.
Absolutely wrong. And as I said before, if the ESA found out of it, there's a large fine. Now, the ESA will do massive public awareness campaigns, and there's websites. If you want information, just go to esasafe.com.
esasafe.com.
And what it tells you is everything. You can check me out. All electrical contractors that have a licensed electrical ESA number will be on that website.
Nice.
So if you see a person that you're not sure if they're actually licensed or not, you can go right on the
phone number, 1-888.
It's 1-877-ESA-SAFE.
1-877-ESA-SAFE. Very important. Now, what do we have left to wire this up?
All right. So what we have here is a 2-pole, a double pole, common trip breaker.
Okay.
It's this unit right here is spec'd for 15 amps. And what we want to do is install this as close to the main breaker as possible, as we talked about before.
Okay.
So now, if you guys decide that you're going to do this at home,
disclaimer.
This power needs to be off. I'm trained. I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm trained and I'm going to do this safe for the TV. All you have to do to shut the power off is get yourself a flashlight, turn this breaker to the off position, and then you're 100% safe. Because all these bars right here are all unfused and it's very dangerous.
I trust you, John, because you wouldn't have been here today if for the last few years that you've been working for me, you have Workplace Safety Insurance Board coverage.
Right.
I've seen your license. He's tried, tested, and proven.
Okay.
Let's pop her in.
All right.
I wouldn't have had you on the show if you weren't approved.
That's right. This is a push-in type breaker, so there's no screwing involved.
Okay.
We make sure the breaker's off to protect ourselves. There is a hook right there. You just got to make sure that you're in there before you push down. Press in. It's installed.
That's it?
That's it.
What a gem.
What a gem. Okay, so now what we always do is we do the ground wire first.
Ground first.
Now, the panel's a little messy. I apologize. I think Bob's been playing in here.
No, I haven't. Again, a very big thanks to the homeowners for letting us come here, using the home on location, courtesy to install the surge protector, and obviously to be able to bring the cameras here for Cable 14 today.
All right. So what we've done is we've installed the ground wire. There is a ground bar attached right to the frame.
Okay.
We'll tuck that in. We'll clean that up later. Next is the neutral conductor.
Okay.
So right here are your 2 neutral bars. You can see a whack load of white wires going in. It's pretty hard to miss. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that in very carefully.
Wow, you're brave in there with that live.
Well, again,
experience.
And this is why I firmly believe homeowners should not be doing their own wiring, because...
Well, again, I mean, to the legal letter of the law, if they apply for their own permit, they're allowed, as long as the ESA inspects it, but I won't endorse it. John, we'll wrap up the rest in a bit. I want to take a moment to thank you once again so much. We're almost out of time here.
All right.
We'll finish off after we wrap with the television. I want to say shout out a very special thank you to Hamilton, whether it's this show or any show. www.justaskbob.com. Pause, fast forward, rewind. Take it all at your own pace. Till next time.